Welcome to episode 157 of Gods and Heroes of Ancient Greece. My name is MyLinda Butterworth, and today we continue with the tales of Odysseus and the story of Odysseus Mocked Again. The suitors amused themselves riotously until nightfall. When it grew dark, handmaids brought in 3 braziers to light the hall, and filled them with dry oak wood and resinous pine. As they were fanning the flames, Odysseus went up to them and said, "Listen to me, servants of Odysseus. Of a master who has been absent from his house all too long, you should be upstairs with your noble mistress, turning the spindle and carding wool. Let me tend the fire in this hall. I shall not tire, even if the suitors stay until dawn. I am accustomed to hardship." The girls exchanged glasses and laughed among themselves. Finally, Melantho, a young handmaid whom Penelope had reared like her own child, but who now was the mistress of Eurymachus, said haughtily, "Miserable beggar, what a fool you are! You should spend the night at a smithy or with some host of a humble booth, instead of trying to lay down the law to us here. With our men of noble family. Are you drunk, or is it just that you have no sense? Or did your victory over Iris go to your head? If you don't look out, someone here will strike you until the blood pours from you, and then drive you from this palace." "You shameless thing," said Odysseus angrily. "I shall tell Telemachus what you have just said, and he will cut you limb from limb." At that, the girls grew frightened and fled from the hall. Then Odysseus took his place at the braziers and fanned the flames as he brooded on revenge. Athene, meanwhile, spurred the suitors on to make fun of him. Eurymachus turned to his companions and said, "That man has surely been sent here to light up the hall with his wisdom. Just look at his head, not a single hair on it. Doesn't it shine like a torch?" His words were greeted with bawdy laughter. Encouraged by applause, he turned to Odysseus. "How about hiring me out as a servant, fellow?" he asked him. "You could plant trees in my orchard and weed out the thorn bushes. In return, you should have all you can eat, but I see that you prefer to beg and fill your belly with gifts that cost you no sweat." "Eurymachus," said Odysseus in a steady voice, "I wish it were spring, and that we could match ourselves in mowing the meadow, both with scythes in our hands and working on an empty stomach until dark. Then we would see who had the greater endurance. And if we stood at the plowshare, you would see whether or not I could cut a furrow straight through a 4-acre field, or if we were off at war, I would show you that I can carry a shield, helmet, and 2 brazen lances, and fight in the front line. Then it would not occur to you to taunt me with this belly of mine. Now you think you are great and powerful because you have measured your strength with a few, but certainly not with the best men. But should Odysseus once return to his home, I fear that these doors, wide as they are, would prove too narrow for your escape." At this, Eurymachus grew very angry. "Scoundrel!" he shouted. "Now this very instant you shall be repaid for your drunken impudence." And with that he seized a footstool, but Odysseus ducked at the knees of Amphinomus, and the heavy missile hurled over his head and struck a cupbearer in his right hand, so that the wine jug fell to the floor with a clatter, and the boy groaned and toppled over backwards. The suitors cursed the stranger for the disturbance he had caused, but went on carousing none the less, until Telemachus courteously but firmly asked them to retire for the night. At that, Amphinomus rose and said, "You have heard what is certainly a fair request, my friends. Let us not quarrel with the young man, and in the future let us not offend this stranger or any servant in the palace with deeds or words. Fill your cups and pour a libation, and then let us go to our couches. Let this beggar stay here under the protection of Telemachus, for at his hearth he has taken shelter." All was done as Amphinomus had said, and soon after the suitors left. And here ends my tale for today, but I'll be back with more tales. many more tales. Until then, my friends, enjoy the journey.